Hello everyone, welcome to another video in the YouTube channel. You're probably going to like this one. A few people complaining. I saw someone the other day and they said, what? You've done 3 or 4 videos now where they're not about gambling. Do I need to unsubscribe? Well, I guess the 200 or so videos before that one, before we really started focusing on the gambling issue, might also have been an indicator that this channel isn't just about gambling, I guess. But, you know, what do I know? Obviously, if you don't want to subscribe, you don't have to, but it's nice if you do. You'll get videos, but it's mainly going to be about, you know, esports and gaming and stuff. Now, Sam, while you were away, mate, I started the last video. Was it the last video? Was it? Yeah.
No, the esports journalism one.
No, yeah, it was the esports journalism one.
Yeah.
That was, and I said, oh, well, Sam's in this guy.
Yeah, so it was worrying how quickly people assumed I was dead, considering I'm 20 years old. Everyone weren't even surprised. Oh, I just thought it finally happened.
When people meet you, they just assume it's happening.
Yeah, that's becoming an overwhelming trend.
Yeah, no,
Sam, stop killing yourself. No, I'm not even depressed, mate. This is just how I live. This is just how I do.
You're obviously in pain. Just stop. What do you mean? Not everyone drinks like that. No, I just do.
I just like pints of rum to the brain for no reason. It's my favourite.
You're like, what is it? Beacon,
smoking marijuana, snorting cocaine, and drinking with no self-control.
So tell you what, man, 'cause we've been really letting down the whole sponsor thing, and you've been in sponsor meetings today, some better than others. Well, I was recording the E-League podcast, and yeah, you know, so I think let's pretend this is a real podcast for real people that listen to this, and let's do the audible.com plug. So this podcast is brought to you by, it's not really brought to you by Audible. I mean, it's brought to you by us, but
well, if it's in their ears, it could be. Who knows?
Yeah, it could be. But it's brought, you know, it's not brought. Audible.com is a thing where you can download talking books, and they do good talking books. And they don't just do talking books, actually. They do all sorts over there now. They do like podcasts and there's all sorts of stuff that they do. And mainly everything they do, it talks.
Yeah.
Right? And if you like talking and listening to things that talk, maybe you're tired of talking and you want to listen to someone else talk, then you go to audibletrial.com/RL show.
Oh, he's had the plug right. Fucking hell. He's on it.
Look at that, right? Look at that. And you can go there and download some incredible talking books, podcasts, political speeches and essays and all sorts of
Don't know
amazing...
if those are on there, to be honest.
Yeah. But if they're not, they should be.
It's definitely some books.
Yeah, so do that. And just as a proof of concept, this podcast is also brought to you by Slap Fight India Pale Ale, where made by the local Atlanta brewery, Monday Night Brewing. Weekends are overrated, it says on the can, which is true. And that basically means drink every day, I think. That's what I take it to mean. Drink every day. Drink while you're at work. Why spend your weekend with a hangover, you know?
Exactly.
Do it on company time. Fuck them.
If you never stop drinking, you never get hangover.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. I guess that's kind of true, but mainly because you would just be dead.
Yay.
So there you go. So that if you did want to sponsor us, that could be you, right? So there you are. Now, this video today, mate, it's happened. It's only fucking gone and happened. CSGOLounge is dead, mate. It's done. It's done and dusted. It's gone the way of the dodo, which means obviously it was eaten by a bunch of Spanish conquistadors or something.
I didn't even like it anyway.
Yeah, I didn't even like it. They said it was a dry meat. It's horrible, but we'll just stamp on all their fucking heads. Stupid fat white bird. Fucking fuck the dodo. Fuck it right in its face. We're all out of dodos. So that's history for you.
Kicked them all to death over nothing.
Yeah, just kick them all to death. Like, literally, football hadn't been invented. So they were like, if only there was a perfectly round, flightless thing that we could kick. And someone was like, what, you mean an inanimate object? And they were like, nah, just living one would be better, I think. Like, just kick something that's alive to death for no reason.
It needs to have pain.
It's part of the sport. So yeah, so all the dodos got stamped out of existence, and it's happened to CSGOLounge, mate. And I guess in this metaphor or simile or whatever, Valve would be the conquistadors. They stamped on all the gambling sites, stamped on them hard,
stomped on their head.
They've had a curb stomp. Off it's gone, like. So CSGOLounge literally announced today. I get back from one podcast of breaking news, the official E-League podcast, which will be out soon. I come back to my modest housing, and which is great. I love it out here. And I find out CSGOLounge is dead, literally as I walk through the door. First thing that happened. My laptop, which I have set to break me all the latest news, said, warning. It didn't do that. Didn't. But it was there on Reddit, is what I'm saying. So I guess I'll read the statement. Can you bring this up, mate?
Yeah. I'm just adjusting the scene.
I know you've had a bit of an holiday, mate. You've had a break.
Yeah.
So I don't want you to.
There you go. Right,
I don't want to tax you. So there you go. 16th August 2016. Dear community of CSGOLounge and Dota 2 Lounge, today we are announcing that we are closing our virtual items betting functionality with immediate effect. Depositing virtual skins and items in order to place a bet is not possible anymore. At the moment, we are working on a solution for items withdrawal. Please stay tuned for an update on this topic. Lounge will continue as an esports entertainment and information platform with new features to be released very soon. On behalf of Borovic, founder of CSGOLounge and Dota 2 Lounge, definitely not the name of an orc from Lord of the Rings. It sounds like it, mate.
Yeah.
Borovic. I'm probably not saying it properly. And the entire Lounge's team. So he doesn't even say goodbye or anything, no peace out. But I prefer this kind of professional, blunt, direct statement over the maudlin, saccharine nonsense of fucking scum like CSGO Wild.
It feels bad, man.
Yeah, think of all the memories we had. Oh, God, so many memories. Like just mopping their fucking eyes with dollar bills. Oh, no. We're so sad to see you go, you walking wallets. Right? You are little wallets with arms and legs, and we, much like the dodo, we stamp on you and eat your delicious innards, your delicious dry innards. So I gotta say, like, I prefer this kind of statement. And look, I don't know about you, dude. I saw this coming.
I didn't actually. I thought CSGOLounge would have been one of the ones to get away around it. Kind of had the idea they were too big to fail.
What a fucking
not,
mate.
Just a bit of water, mate.
A bit? Yeah. It sounds like you just poured fucking half a Lake Michigan all over your face.
There it is. It's just
there
a bottle.
All right, okay. But yeah, no, I saw this coming, man. Well, probably a lot of people don't know about CSGO. The minute that cease and desist letter was put out, there was actually a lot of internal chatter. You know, I've talked to one or two employees who were all, if you remember from previous videos, they were all told, no comment, no comment. Some even changed their name to have no comment in it. And they said that the leadership disappeared. Like, they all sit, obviously, in, like, you know, Skype groups and that sort of thing. And they all communicate. We all know how reliable Skype is, right? Let's totally use this to plot all of our future endeavors. What
Can't wait till either me or you get hot and it's just all the dirty shit we sent back and forth.
Honestly, mate.
Just pages of what the fuck.
Yeah, literally, it's whatever's on the top of the fucking what the fuck subreddit. Like, just pages of each other. Like, there's some worse subreddits that we go to, which we probably shouldn't talk about.
Yeah.
You know, watch people.
No illegal gambling rings up. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Better than most, apparently.
There is that. And I'm pretty sure we probably have referred to some people that think that we're their friends as rats. That'd probably come out with it. There'd be a few awkward conversations.
You have called Josh Raven a fat rat.
Oh, imagine it, mate. Can you imagine? Yeah, but what we meant was, we love you as a fat rat.
You've already done that publicly anyway, mate. You've already rinsed him twice.
Yeah. So anyway. I'm not too worried about it. But anyway, so the people who were sat in the Skype group, the staff, a few of them were like, the leadership just didn't come and communicate with us at all. Like, we had no idea what was happening. We had no idea what was going on. All we got told internally was that we were going to figure out a workaround, not to jump the gun And do you remember? They did put a statement out. Do you remember it?
Yeah, I think so.
We read it on a previous show. I'll let you go find it.
Classic.
You're the producer, mate. One day you get to sit here. When I die, right, you get to take over the show.
The host in the north.
Yeah, exactly. I should have stood with you when you were doing that show about Phantom Lord.
When you were palping, and I regret that now.
And I regret that now. But now, I am the king of the north, the king of the podcast in the north. So you'll get to inherit this. But find that thing and link me to it. But I'll summarize.
Holy shit.
For those who haven't seen previous videos, this was basically CSGOLounge. It's saying, hey, well, what we're going to do is we're going to continue as a betting entity, but we're not going to do it in the following countries. And if you remember, they listed all these countries. Some were like dominions of France and little islands, and there was Europe, and there was some weird countries on that list because there was countries where this kind of betting is legal on that list. And people were scratching their heads and saying, why's that happened? That makes no sense. But that was the first time they communicated on the issue. Internally, staff were like, well, what's the workaround? What's going to change? How does this work? And it didn't work. And unfortunately, what a lot of people didn't know about was there were some issues. For example, a lot of their bots, they just got hit with they were effectively deactivated. And some people said this wasn't true. Some people said, oh no, they haven't been trade banned because they didn't have the trade banned warning on the accounts, right? But you couldn't actually do anything with them. So it was like a very specific Valve thing that they brought in. And that wasn't really communicated en masse, that there was this problem here. Now, in the past, we know CSGOLounge have talked with Valve. They've had meetings with Valve and communicated, this is what we do, this is how it works. It didn't seem to me that Valve had any issue prior to this. They were certainly aware of what CSGOLounge were doing. If you remember, they didn't even intervene and shut CSGOLounge down when we had all this fucking match fixing going on, which was only made possible because of CSGOLounge. Let's just put that out there. Did you ever hear of a match being fixed before CSGOLounge?
Nope.
I didn't.
Wasn't much of an incentive, really, was it?
Yeah, there wasn't, mate. I heard of a couple of I heard about some win trading going on in like Counter-Strike Source. You know, hey, we're gonna stay in ESEA Premier. Americans, of course, we're gonna stay in the ESEA Premier. If you win the game against us, you'll stay in. We could do it. Or if you lose, this team will get relegated. Blah blah. All of this stuff. I've heard of that. Never had I heard of match fixing like what we saw when CSGOLounge came out. But Valve didn't intervene then. And didn't say, well, you know, look, we should probably revise this, or we're going to put this on hiatus. We're going to stop this. There was rumors, and it weren't rumors. Look, I think it's fair to say that no entity is entirely good. You have a net good, right? You everybody that goes through, it's not like zero. You know, it's not zero sum. You end up at some sort of neutral state. Some people have a net good, some people have a net bad. That's just how it is, right? And over the course of a lifetime, even if you wanted to deliberately do only evil things, you'd accidentally do some good stuff. You know, like I'm sure there's been a murderer who's accidentally killed somebody who was going to kill a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
That murderer achieved net good. He didn't want to. He didn't know he was going to do it. I don't know why I'm assuming the murderer's, hey, I'm obviously sexist. But
patriarchy,
you know, women can murder too, obviously. But the point is that, you know, that we would accidentally achieve net good. And that's how I look at CSGO and Dota Lounge. So let's just analyze, you know, they did do some bad stuff, you know, they did that threatening thing where they were like, hey, we won't put your games on Lounge. They did say that to people. You give us advertising or we don't put your games on Lounge. They did do that. That did happen. I know that happened. I've seen communications that prove it. And that's not to wreck CSGOLounge. I guess you have to do what you have to do to survive. They weren't particularly well monetized. You know, compared to some of these other sites that came after them, these lottery sites, they weren't well monetized. You know, some of those people made fucking millions. We know about some of them. They made millions. They made disgusting amounts of millions. CSGOLounge, again, I find their claims a little bit dubious that they say they never took a percentage, they never took a rake. They did say that in that same statement. which is odd because that I don't think that's true. I don't see what they'd be doing it for otherwise. But, obviously they didn't monetize it to the same level as, I know, let's say a CSGO Lotto or, whatever, right? They didn't do it to the same degree. So they had to find other ways to do it, and they had to get advertising out there, and they did. And they leveraged their position to get advertising. It's business. I'm not saying it's entirely ethical. I'm not saying it makes them good people. I'm saying they obviously felt they had to do that to survive and further their own ends. And overall, I think CSGOLounge, even with these bumps in the road, achieved a net good. That's what I'm saying. So, their closure, it will probably surprise a few people. And, I like I say, I definitely saw this coming. I think after they made all these announcements and talked about how they were going to try and change functionality and operate in all these countries and everything else, they were always going to die. They obviously didn't have an idea. They didn't have a plan. They didn't communicate internally with the staff about their plans. And that was that. So, I wasn't surprised. They seemed a bit directionless. Now, somebody reached out to me because people often do that. They reach out to me and they say, "Hey, Richard, keep this little secret. Let's be anonymous about this. But I've got some information and I'm going to give it to you, but don't say where you got it from." So I'm not going to say where I got this from because obviously I respect sources, I respect privacy. And I got this person, this individual, reached out to me and said basically they were in the fucking toilet ever since this Valve thing happened. That was it. Like CSGOLounge were really struggling. And what they'd done is they took all of the data from betting, right? Going back, let's have a look. I'm not even sure what the timescale was. I think it was. Let me just double check. Actually, I want to get this correct because obviously this is important within the context of it. But what they did was they took all the betting data over this period of time, and they spaced it out, and you can see this huge drop in the bets. So let's just have a look. So this is a 3-month betting period. So that will encompass the glory days before T Martin and Honor the Call, and of course where we are as of now, as of this decision. Now, if you want to bring up the graph, Sam, I'll let you do that.
Will do, bud.
So this is again the timeline is according to this gentleman is over 3 months. And what do we see there? So basically, I think this graph, Sam, I think it looks exactly like the output of the last heart monitor before you die. Right? It's
like
like
3 spikes are the big pulse.
Yeah. This is where it's like, he's had a cake. that first spike where it hits 250,000. That's where you have the cake, and then it's like the 3 big pulps, fucking hell, and dead and done.
Straight down.
That's literally it. Your mother will have that pinned to her fridge. I'm gonna miss you, Giant Sam. So that's what she calls
Giant Sam.
Yeah, I love my Giant Sam. But you can see the betting here is quite reasonable. You have this. It's jumping between 125 to 150,000. It's jumping up and down. Then we get these kind of initial spikes. I imagine those would correlate with when events were on. Trying to think what events we've had in the last 3 months that would do that. But generally, I would imagine every big spike correlates to an event, and every dip correlates to the kind of aftermath where the market resets itself. And then you've got these big spikes here. Now, the big spikes to me, and again, this is just my own interpretation on this, I would imagine these big spikes, you can see it nearly goes up to 500,000 bets. In the last 3 months, we've obviously had, there's been some E-League betting. We had the major. So these are things to certainly take into consideration. But also as well, I imagine there's a lot of people who were like trying to get the last, wring the last skins out of this betting thing. I think there was probably a few people that were ahead of the curve on this, a few people that saw the way it was going to go, and they used their inventories to try and maximize their inventories and cash out as soon as possible. And certainly I know that to be true. There was a few people, high betters, high-level betters, that were telling, that they were talking before this happened about how they had no confidence in the skins market anymore. They felt it was going to collapse. They felt there was big changes ahead. And indeed, if you look at this white paper, we're going to do a separate video on that. In this white paper, the UK Gambling Commission says opening a case is gambling, which I don't know what to say. I don't know.
As well as Kinder Eggs and Happy Meals.
And panini stickers. Sorry, what's that? You got a vintage Paul Gascoigne in your Italian 90 sticker pack? You're out of fucking control. Son.
You need to fucking calm down.
You need to calm down. You've got a problem. I'll be having that, you little rat, and that's that. And then anyway, toward the end of the graph, you can see the betting just as this is obviously, if you look at the dip, that is the ban. That's when everything stops up until. And this is as of a few days ago. So you can see that there's no reason here, under the new rules, under the new terms and conditions, everything they were going to have to do to try and stay active. There's no market in that. There's no value in that. And I imagine to keep all of that running, all of the bots, all of the staff, a lot of the staff told me they weren't paid, but some were. And all of the costs, what's the point? What is the point of keeping that running? So CSGOLounge was always going to die on its arse once these changes happened. So there's that. Now, obviously, there's some other news around CSGOLounge, which I'm sure you saw, Sam, even while you were in the sky, dead.
even mid-palp in the sky.
When you were having the big palp in the sky. I just can't believe people just assumed you were dead.
I'm not
so
surprised.
Easily, though. Like, it just...
I know.
Why would that be the first thing? If I said, Sam's in the sky at the moment, if I'd said, Kobe Bryant's in the sky at the moment, no one would say, Kobe's dead. He's having a fly, isn't he? He's having a fly. He's a sports star. You, dead. Got to be.
Yeah.
Got to be.
As Louis C.K. mate, I want to get healthy enough so if I die, someone actually asks what happened.
What happened?
Sam died. Yeah, of course he did. Obviously he did.
So, yeah, absolutely. The other news, big news. A big steaming news was CSGOLounge, of course, being owned by the parent company that owns Virtus Pro. Now, we knew about this.
You dropped a little nug, mate, at the top of the Reddit. Dropped a little nug in a
no,
chat.
I didn't mean to do that, though. I can't.
Everyone's watching, mate. That's always someone watching.
Dumb, though, isn't it? Like, hey, Yelamau said this. Is it true? Well, my understanding of it is this. That's all there is. Reddit post up of Reddit. Oh, come on. Like, what the fuck is the point in that hysteria? Like, put it this way: if there was anything improper, you've just made it 10 times harder for all the people investigating it now. And that's why we've got this mad scramble to be like, let's try and catch everyone out. Right. Let me tell you, okay? I had these documents for weeks. The sales document. That isn't the story. That isn't the fucking story. The story isn't that, right? That's part of it. The real story is there's this huge fucking group called ES Force that are going around buying up everything, and they want to buy teams, and they want to own multiple teams. I want you to think about how bad that can be potentially for any competitive scene. It cannot be allowed to happen. All right? So, what we need to do is get definitive documentation that shows this wrongdoing, right? When shit like this happens, we can't get that documentation. Look what happened with FaZe and CSGO Wild. We will never find out for sure whether or not CSGO Wild and FaZe were owned, because as soon as the T Martin thing came out and people weren't ready to get on top of all the other companies, they had time to cover their tracks. They deleted all their social media. Then they pretended that they didn't. They did. They said they had no reason to do it. They did. They covered they lied publicly. They changed YouTube videos. They the descriptions. They did everything they could to cover their tracks and show it, get rid of any potential links. Okay? And what do we do? What do we do now? How do we find this paper? People have even got that they're releasing their own documentation, right? And that's just the articles of incorporation. That's just what happened when they created the thing. Obviously, something happened further down the line, but I don't think we'll ever get to it now because everyone wants to beat their fucking chest and finish the fucking story. Get to the end of the story. Find the entire facts. So you don't say I finished a jigsaw just because you put the four corners in. You don't do it that way. And I understand we're in a business where people want clicks, but when it comes to doing the fucking greater good, you're going to have to suck it the fuck up, risk losing those clicks, and just do the work. Like, get the fucking work finished. Get to the point. Because what's happened here is, and this is news, this is a story, this is definitely worth reporting on, but this is nothing in what the bigger picture is. And no one's going to be able to report about that. And it's now got 10 times harder, if not 100 times harder, to get to that bigger picture. But because it's been public, obviously we can now address it in this video. So yeah, we had the documents. We knew that Virtus Pro owned 90% of CSGOLounge. We knew Borovic had cashed out and had sold to this parent company.
Good timing. Well on him.
Yeah, document. Yeah, talk about fucking, and hang on, let me, I got some notes here just on that matter. So it's probably worth, going through these. Let me just increase this font size. God, my eyesight's bad. In fact, no, this will probably be boring. It's literally just the trade of companies and how much money was owed.
I think we should go do a brief rundown at least. Give us a few.
No, let's save it. Let's save it. Let's do an eSports video. Well, look, I'm getting closer and closer to the end of the story.
He's dying young.
He's dying. And we'll do that then. But so the parent company of Virtus Pro owns 90% of CSGOLounge, and this is proven in sales documents. This was reported in the Esports Observer by this report was by Tiemo Brautigan. The one before it, he's a Brazilian journalist, I believe. The one before it was Ferguson Mitchell. But you can see there's the documents, the sale documents, and it's found in the Register of Companies in Poland that ES Force Holding, which is the ex Virtus Pro group, now own CSGOLounge. They also own the media rights to the Ukrainian esports organization Navi. They own several esports content studios. They got a tournament organizer, retail business. They've just done this huge land grab in the CIS region, and they're looking to expand that. They're looking to get into other areas. They own things that I think when people find out what they've got their fingers in, people are going to be really fucking surprised. And it's not good. It's not a good look. These people have got to be exposed, I think. Which this is probably how I die. This is probably how I get killed.
Yeah, he's fucking with the mob.
He's fucking with Usmanov. It's over. So, anyway, people will be like, "What does that mean? What does that mean in the bigger picture?" And I saw some people go, "Oh, this means that Virtus Pro must have fixed games." I don't even know how you get there. I don't know how you immediately leap to that conclusion. I'm not saying that didn't happen. I don't know. I'd need to see some facts, though. I wouldn't assume, Virtus Pro own 90% of CSGOLounge, and that means that they own the team, and the team did bad online, and they kept throwing online, and that was good for CSGOLounge. What are we talking about here? How does... this is an insane conspiracy theory. I did hear one bullshit rumor recently that apparently one of the reasons that Virtus Pro kept getting chucked an opportunity to get back into ESL is because they were leveraging Lounge and saying, we won't put games on Lounge, which seems stupid to me. But it seems like someone just made that up.
That's the problem with them owning both companies, right? Is it brings those questions in. That's the whole conflict of interest. That's why it's a problem. Even if they can't be proven, even if it's not true, the question still needs to be asked.
And that's where I stand on it. I think having a company that does what CSGOLounge did while owning teams, it does lend itself to this ridiculous potential for matches and outcomes to be fixed, and having the channel through which to do that. So it definitely was a problem, but people, I don't know. Like, I guess if you're a hardcore Virtus Pro fan, you try and say, oh, multiple companies own lots of things. Yeah, all right, okay. But oh god, there's gotta be a good example here, Sam. Let's say all right, let's say I owned two companies. Let's say I owned a tobacco company.
Okay.
And obviously we know that smoking increases your chances of getting cancer, right? You with me so far?
Does it, bud?
Yeah, I didn't know if you heard that. I want to stop. I want to start vaping.
I don't smoke, mate.
Josh, you rav.
Yeah,
So let's say I own a tobacco company, all right? Now, let's also say I owned a chemotherapy company. Yeah? So I, on the one hand, I have a business that causes cancer, and I chuck a bunch of money into obfuscating the fact that it causes cancer, and I push it out there and I peddle it. And then when you eventually get the cancer from the thing that I'm hiding, giving you cancer and lobbying and telling you it doesn't get cancer, you get cancer, and then you come to my chemotherapy company and I pump you full of chemotherapy drugs. Now, let's say I'm the parent company. I own both of these. Now, let's just say one hand literally doesn't know what the other is doing. The tobacco company and the chemotherapy company never talk to each other. They have no dealings. There's no crossover. But they're still owned by the same person. It just seemed like a good investment. You know, people like to smoke. People like to not die of cancer. Two good things to invest in.
Win-win.
Win fucking win. But I'm pretty sure if you're watching this video, you know that that would raise questions. You would probably not have to work too hard to arrive at the conspiracy theory I just dictated. And the same goes for a company that does esports betting and owning an esports betting team that plays competitive games. This is a fucking no-no. This is like 101 conflict of interest. You're not going to find a bigger conflict of interest in esports. And that's saying something. This is completely inappropriate. This shouldn't be happening. And I would urge leagues and other people to be mindful of this. So, let me just remind you about Valve. Remember Valve? They make the game. Great developer, make award-winning games. They have helped revolutionize their respective esports scene, CSGO and Dota, but have done it by being quite hands-off. Some say too much. Well, when they got hands-on, they put a blog out, and this was in the aftermath of the match fixing. And it was a little reminder to peeps, a little reminder to the people, about how to conduct yourself. And it was called Unnecessary Risks. And it wasn't about having sex without a condom, Sam. Although I'm pretty sure your parents wished it had been.
Fat rats.
Classic banter. So
you got the worst end of that deal, mate.
What?
I just keep seeing you getting rinsed by the old fat rat.
Yeah, people. It's become an affectionate term. I've taken the term "fat rat" back.
Fat rat who grabs kids.
Yeah, no one's saying it.
Oh, what a loving term.
No one's saying the second.
Thanks, guys. They are. It's happening.
It's not. It's definitely not.
I know they are because I
Anyway,
keep approving the
just call
comments when you try and delete them.
Do you have a delete?
No.
I have deleted some comments. You're not wrong. Unnecessary risks. So Valve put this blog out. It's not long. It's very to the point, though. But just a reminder. Do you want me to link this to you so you can bring it up?
Already got him, mate.
He's good. He's good.
It.
He knows about unnecessary risks. We frequently sponsor third-party events to add to their entertainment value for viewers and broaden the audience for competitive CSGO. Fact. True. To be eligible to participate in a Valve-sponsored event, players are required to follow the rules provided by that event's organizers. In addition to that organizer's rules, we expect that players who plan to participate in any future Valve-sponsored event will hold themselves to a high standard of professional integrity. Professional players, teams, and anyone involved in the production of CSGO events should under no circumstances gamble on CSGO matches, associate with high-volume CSGO gamblers, or deliver information to others that might influence their CSGO bets. Now, let's just assess this. Under no circumstances gamble on CSGO matches. Under no circumstances associate with high-volume CSGO gamblers. And under no circumstances deliver information to others that may influence the CS:GO bets. So I don't think Virtus Pro have gambled per se, apart from that one time we all remember where they placed a bet on a match that had already happened as a bit of a troll. A lot of people get hysterical about that, saying it was the same as match fixing. It isn't. You're stupid if you think that. End of discussion. Is it ethical? Probably not. They did declare it no harm, no foul. But yes, you're incredibly fucking stupid if you're comparing it to match fixing. I hate to break it to you. And also it says don't deliver information to others that might influence the CSGO bets. I mean, no evidence of that, right? Nothing to suggest that's going on. But it says don't associate with high volume CSGO gamblers. Well, do you think being owned by a company that also owns the single biggest skin betting site in the game's history qualifies? I think it does.
Yeah.
Massive fucking yee, right? Massive yee. It does, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
That's not hyperbole, right?
No.
That is, like, legit. And it says, to clarify, as a professional player, team manager, or event production staff, it is common to have personal relationships and or privileged information about other teams and players. Because of this, we will always assume you have access to private CSGO-related inside information that might give you an unfair advantage while placing a bet on any CSGO game or match. Now, let's take this one step further. In fact, no, actually, I'll read the next paragraph. Betting using inside information, or even the perception or suspicion thereof, carries a significant risk of damaging your personal brand, your team, your community, and may lead to exclusion from future Valve-sponsored events. So let's take this one step further. Let's say I'm ES Force. Let's say I own multiple teams, right? Obviously, for now, we know they own Virtus Pro. Oh, my me. But let's say I do own multiple teams. Let's say I have a relationship, a controlling interest, a shareholding, a stake within multiple teams. I have insider information, don't I? Because I run those teams. I know when Taz has got a hernia, right? Because he's old and we get those. I know when another generic team that I own has a player that has had a girlfriend break up with him. I know this. And I know this ahead of time. I know when my players are sick. I know when they're playing on laptops. I know everything about the day-to-day minutiae of the teams. Okay? So, what do I do with that information? Do I publicly declare it so everyone's on a level fucking playing field? Or do I share that information privately with a few people that may want to bet on my fucking website to make profit when the upsets happen because of this extra, this periphery information? That, my friends, used to happen in mob sports betting. When the Italian mob got into American sports, this is what they would do. They would pay people for information of this nature so they could bet accordingly and win big. And this information came at a premium. That's why Valve is saying this. Not because they're petty or fucking childish, but because this information can be used for nefarious purposes. Now, I'm not saying any of this has gone on, but wow, if you were going to do something like this, holy fucking shit, this would be the perfect system to do it with. You wouldn't even need to fix games. You would always have a betting edge. And you could even leverage the teams to go out and go, we're going to win tonight. We're in great shape. We're totally going to win. Knowing that they're not. Knowing they might have to use a stand-in at the last minute. Knowing they're playing at laptops. Knowing that one of them's got food poisoning. And you make them say this publicly, and it increases confidence in betting towards them, skews the odds, enabling you to get a bigger profit. using that privileged information. This, my friends, is why you cannot have this kind of setup. It is unethical. It fucks up integrity. It raises too many questions. And here's the point. If you can ask the question, it doesn't matter whether or not those things have happened. If you ask the question, something is wrong. If you can legitimately ask the question, something is fucked up somewhere. So, it finishes. To avoid these risks, we recommend you never bet in any CSGO match. The recommendation applies both to current professional players and anyone who wishes to participate in a Valve-sponsored CSGO event. So that applies to talent as well. I've never placed a bet. I definitely practice what I preach on this. I have never placed a bet on CSGOLounge or any other skin betting platform. Never done it. And it's important to consider the substantial impact an individual professional Counter-Strike player has on the health and stability of the sport. Performing before an audience of millions of fans, you're ambassadors for your game. The strength of professional Counter-Strike comes from the integrity of its players and teams. So, obviously, as a team, you cannot control where your money comes from. You cannot control where your finances come from. But obviously, leagues have got to step up here and say, we are not going to allow these teams. We're not going to allow them to participate while this setup is in place. We can't do that. We are not going to allow that. We're going to give opportunities to teams that want to have an ethical system in place. That is the only way forward here. Because if you turn a blind eye to this, we're going to get to a situation where the latest scam is going to be this. The latest scam isn't just going to be owning esports properties. It's going to be owning multiple teams and multiple ways to monetize the information that comes out of those teams. That is fucked up. We cannot allow that. So Valve are clear on it. For me, I'm reading that and I'm not seeing any I don't think this is a vague interpretation. I'm seeing a very clear understanding that now that it's been proven that Virtus Pro owns CSGOLounge, obviously they wouldn't be able to compete at a Valve-sponsored event. But here's the thing. All of a sudden, ladies and gentlemen, CSGOLounge no longer functions as CSGOLounge. Have you noticed that? Are you with me, Sam?
Yeah, I'm watching your finger go, man.
Yeah? So here's what's happened. Quite evidently, looking behind the scenes, this isn't the death of a site that was failing. Yeah, we saw the graph. Yeah, we saw your heart. Right? This is a huge investment company bitterly taking a loss because it can afford to. They knew that with their current setup of wanting to own multiple teams and multiple properties and market them as a group, which, by the way, GGA tried to do it before. It's not a uniquely Russian thing. The Good Game Agency wasn't technically an agency. You know, it was basically a way to own multiple teams in the space. Created the same problems then. I objected to it then. I was vocal about it then. I wrote articles about it then. And then they got bought by Amazon. And I still investigated it. And I still put material out there because we can't allow that to happen. Cannot allow it to happen. It undercuts the very fabric of what we do. So this now means, obviously, that they've said, well, as long as we're not a gambling platform, we can't get beaten over the head with the fact that we own a gambling platform and a team. So when it says Lounge will continue as an esports entertainment and information platform with new features to be released very soon, they're not going to go the way of doing it what these other sites have with the workaround and the cryptocurrency and the bullshit and buy skins on our shops. They're not doing it that way. They're doing it by basically, they're going to gut the website and turn it into some piece of shit no one wants to use because that's the only way they can function on plan A, right? Plan A must go ahead. Plan B is now tanked. CSGOLounge and Dota 2 Lounge are tanked, and Borovic, Lord of the fucking Uruk-hai, has managed to fucking skate the fuck out with a bunch of money and basically sold the ES Forza Lemon. Well, good, by the way. Good that they lost money on it. Fucking good. Yeah, I said it. Good. 2 pops to the brain.
D.
Yeah, D is fun. But that's basically what's been going on with CSGOLounge, mate. And I think people maybe haven't put it all together. Maybe some smart people have. There's obviously a lot to digest, and some people aren't privy to all the information that goes on behind the scenes. Like, obviously, I am. But this is This is the situation. I honestly believe they are tanking the site because they have to if they want their team to, if they want their team to continue to go to Valve events and other big events. So let's wrap this up. I think we'll have done this kind of reasonable. This will be about a 30, 40-minute video. That's not too bad for us.
Oh, yeah.
It's all right. It's all right, mate.
Not bad.
So, look, yes, let's assess the damage. Let's have a look at the damage, right? We've had a car accident. Bump, let's get out. Let's have a look at the damage. Right, on each other's fucking insurance numbers and have done with it. CSGOLounge was a big part of growing Counter-Strike. People are absolutely right. That net good I talked about, it's not bullshit, mate. They did do a lot of good. But, and this is vitally important, mate, we were artificially ahead. I've talked about this, like the viewing numbers, artificially ahead. We were getting all these numbers predicated on this hardcore group of people who were betting, probably knowing that this was all going to go swirling down the toilet one day. They created an entire culture which was and community around betting. No problem with that. Sure, it wasn't regulated and it needed to be. Sure, there was probably some underage people in that community. That has to change. The winds of change are here now. Now, those communities are going to fuck off. But that community was never our community to begin with. Our community still grows. The hardcore Counter-Strike lovers community is still growing. The viewing numbers might go down, but us, the people who care about the game, is going up. Of course it is. We were just on TV. People love it. I talk to new fans of the game every day. I talk to parents that are finally starting to get it because they watched it with their kids. I know Counter-Strike has a future, and sometimes you have to go backwards to go forwards. I wrote a column about it, and unfortunately it didn't get published. I think it was a bit too inflammatory. But the underpinning thought process was this principle. We teach it to kids when you coach football. You say, look, it's better to keep possession, right? So sometimes you do a backward pass to keep that, or a sideways pass to keep that easy possession, rather than try and play that fucking through the eye of a needle through ball to score a goal. Because if you don't do it perfectly, and it's a lot harder to do, and it's less statistically likely, you lose possession, and now you're on the defensive, and it's a lot harder to defend than it is to attack. So you get tired out, you get worn out. So sometimes you go backwards to go forwards. That's the greater good. And that's what's happening here. That's all that's happening here. I don't think it's as doom and gloom as what people say. And I am a fucking doom merchant, mate. I am the doomsayer from fucking Hearthstone that comes in, says the end is coming, and and it's all over, mate. Right? That's legit. My role, it seems, but I'm not feeling that here, and I'm gonna end on a positive note, right? Just because that's what we probably need to do more of when we do our videos. Here you go, Governor. Stick that up on screen, mate.
Will do. Give me a sec.
So, this is on esportsmarketingblog.com. The top 10 watched games based on esports hours in July 2016. So let's have a think about this, right? Let's have a think. I don't know. Didn't all this bad shit happen recently? Yeah. Didn't all this like, oh, betting's gone, oh, it's all doom and gloom. It's had the max impact. I mean, keep in mind, one of the biggest spikes in terms of growing numbers that we had in Counter-Strike happened in January 2016. That's on Steam stats. But if you look at this, the top 10 watch games based on esports hours watched in July 2016. We're number one. We're number one. USA. There we are. We're number one. 52.8 million hours, right? Which is obviously less than League of Legends. But the total number of esports hours, 31.8 million. That's from Newzoo Research, right? So think about all the great things we had. We had the fucking, the major going on. We got E-League going on. Like, this is great. This is good shit. We got a massive share, of people watching great esports content. And that suggests to me that we're in a good spot. And yeah, we're going to go backwards. Yeah, viewerships might go down. But if we can get on top of this scarcity problem and start creating scarcity for our own games, As in, let's stop this oversaturation issue we've got going on, where it's like Virtus Pro, Fnatic, SK Gaming, etc., etc. They play each other every fucking week in meaningless online leagues, in meaningless best of ones that no one enjoys, right? And we've diluted our viewership. Games like that used to get like 100,000. Now people are like, well, maybe I don't tune in, and it's 60,000, 70,000, and then, well, it's not my time zone. Fuck it, I'll watch the VOD, right? We're diluting our own product. That's a bigger problem to tackle. We're still going to get people coming into Counter-Strike. I see it all the time. We're going to be fine. We're going nowhere, not in the immediate future. But we will kill the golden goose if we continue to oversaturate our play. So that's the bigger issue to fix. This gambling thing, it's a blip. That's all. It's an anomaly. People shouldn't be too fucking doom and gloom about it. I'll be the first to tell you when it's fucked. I've survived through enough dead games to know when it's over, mate. You know. So there you go. That's my thoughts on the whole CSGOLounge thing. And, you know, like I say, I wish everybody at CSGOLounge the best. They did do something new and exciting. They did bring something to the esports space. It was never realistically going to be sustainable in its current format. And we're now reaping the dividends. But obviously, they'll be missed, in my opinion. And as a final thought, I know there are legal money esports betting alternatives on the horizon. Real ones, big ones that have the potential to really kind of get that interest and maybe drive viewership again. So when they come and it's regulated, be sure to welcome them if you care about that kind of thing. Maybe that CSGO betting community can knock it up a notch and not be about skins. Let's be about money. Let's be about responsible betting. Let's be about being adults. Who knows? Those are my thoughts, Sam. So, Sam from Beyond the Grave, is anybody there? Fucking hell, you may as well.
No, Sam.
What time is it where you are, by the way? I'm saying that like it's probably 2 minutes.
No, 12. It's not too late.
All right, well, there you go. That's the video. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.
Rest in peace. Easy.
Yeah, easy.